Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now, a couple of weeks ago I ranked the albums of the Kinks and I wasn't too sure who I was going to do next, so I put up a poll for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers or The Who, and The Who won, so I will do The Who. I will do Tom Petty at some stage, but I have been listening to a bit of The Who of late, and then over the past week or so I just played nothing but The Who, and I'm really Who'd out at the moment. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this band. At times I think they're brilliant, and at times I think they're overrated. And there is a period of The Who that I really do like, and a period that I struggle with. However, after listening to these albums over and over again, I really have got to appreciate them more than I ever have. But still, there's going to be a few surprises in my ranking. So there's 12 albums in all, so we'll start now. Coming in at number 12 for me, and it's from 1978, and it's Who Are You, and this is the last one with Keith Moon. It's got to number 6 in the charts, and it has the classic single, which I don't think is that great. The title track is regarded as one of the best of the 70s, but for me it's okay. I think it starts off badly with New Song and Had Enough. I don't think they're very good songs. However, 905, the John Entwistle song, I think is brilliant, and it's completely different. It's very new wavy. I think Sister Disco's okay. Trick of the Light, I think, is a very good rocker. Music Must Change, I think it could be good, but it veers on the boring side a little bit. I do like the music, not so much the vocal delivery, and I think Guitar and Pen is okay, but a bit long. It's not a brilliant album, so it falls at my number 12. At number 11, and I thought this one would actually be higher, and it's their most recent one, and it is Who from 2019. Yeah, this is a good, decent standard Who album. All This Music Must Change, or All This Music Must Fade. Do you notice that they've got a few of those sort of titles about music must do this or must do that? It's a standard Who song. Ball and Chain is a decent track as well. I think that was one of the singles. I Don't Want to Get Wise is okay. Hero Ground Zero, I think, is actually quite a good song. It's a good mid-tempo rocker. But for me, Break the News, it's like a folky song. I think it's Pete Townsend that sings it. Is by far the standout on this album. Again, it's not a bad album, it's just I think the other ones are better, and it gets my number 11. That got to number 3 in the charts. At number 10 from 1982, and it's Hard, and this one gets slated all the time. I actually don't mind this album at all. I've always had a soft spot for the single Athena. I bought it whenever it came out. And Eminence Front, I think, is a very brave sort of electronic, almost dancey type song, which was the second single, and a lot of people rave about it, and I think it actually is pretty good. I think Cook's County is quite a funky little number. It's Your Turn is a decent enough rocker, but for me the standout on this is I've Known No War, which I think has got an absolutely brilliant guitar riff in the chorus. And I think it's a decent album, and it gets my number 10. Number 11 in 1982. Okay, at number 9, and this one thought I would have actually had either last or second last, and it's Endless Wire from 2006. And yeah, this actually is an album I really struggled with. There's another one coming up as well that I struggled with. I remember getting this at the time, putting it on in the car as I came out of Morrison's, because that's where I bought it, and the first track came on and I thought, oh god, here we go, we're recycling Baba O'Riley with the song Fragments. But the album itself is really different, and it is very acoustic. Things like A Man in a Purple Dress, the second track, is like a folky type song. In the Ether has got a really weird vocal delivery. Black Widow's Eyes is like a standard Who rock track, but it's pretty good. And 2000 Years, I think, is a beautiful acoustic song, as is God Speaks to Marty Robbins. I think it's a really good album, and the second part, which is the Wire and Glass, the mini opera, with the very sort of short songs, I think is quite good as well. This takes a lot of listening to, but it is actually very rewarding, and I think it deserves better than it gets. A lot of people think this is absolute garbage, but it's not. It's a pretty good album, and that gets my number 9. At number 8, and I thought this would be higher because I raved about this in a video about 2 years ago. It's Face Dances, their album from 1981, and it's got to number 2. The thing I like about this, I love the 2 singles actually. You Better You Bet, I think, is classic Who, absolutely brilliant. Loved it at the time as well, and it did quite well. I think it hit top 10. The second single, Don't Let Go the Coat, I think is every bit as good, but it flopped. Cash Cash is good. I actually quite like the 2 John Entwistle ones, The Quiet One and You. My favourite track off this is Daily Records. I think it's a brilliant new wave number. I think it should have been a single, and I think it would have done really well, but it wasn't released. And this here actually is my favourite front and back cover of any Who album. I think it's brilliant. So Face Dances gets my number 8. Okay, at number 7, and an album that I have played so much and it has started to grow on me. I still don't think it's their best, and it is Quadrophenia from 1973, and this got to number 2. Face Dances got to number 2 as well. I used to detest this, and I bought it in vinyl and I played it to see if that would help. It's grown on me, put it that way. I still don't think it's their best by a long shot, but I do like tracks like I Am the Sea, which is very atmospheric opener with the sound of the sea and the beach. Then it goes into The Real Me, which is a pretty good rocker. Quadrophenia itself is not a bad instrumental. The thing about this is I think the music is all very samey throughout, and it's got Roger Daltrey's sort of gruff rock voice, which at times I'm not that keen on. But as I say, it has grown on me. I've Had Enough is actually a pretty good rocker in this. I do like 515, although it's not one of their classic singles for me. Cut My Hair and Drowned are really good, and Bellboy is fun, but it's not a fantastic song. And then we finish with Love Reign Over Me, which I think is pretty good. I do like it. I like it a heck of a lot more than I used to, and it gets my number 7. At number 6, and it's their debut album from 1965, and it's My Generation, and this album got to number 5. I think this is really good for a debut album. Like, if you compare this to the Stones and even the Beatles and the Kinks, this is better. However, you have to remember this is a couple of years after those albums, whenever groups were starting to write the songs themselves, and so yeah, I think this is pretty good. It starts off with Out in the Street, which I think is a great wee song, even though it does take the intro to Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere. There's a couple of cover versions on here which I don't like. I don't mind. I don't like. Please Please Me, which I don't really like, and I cannot stand I'm a Man. However, the Pete Townshend originals really does save this album, and I think some of them are great. I like The Good's Gone, La 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 Lies, I think is brilliant, and it was a single to capitalise on their success in 1966 whenever they changed label. This was, I think, on Brunswick. My Generation, of course, a big hit, number 2, should have been a number 1. The Kids Are Alright, which possibly is my all-time favourite Who song, which I think is fantastic. A Legal Matter, which I think is a really good track, which featured on the Meaty Beaty Big and Bouncy album. It's Not True is pretty good, and I don't mind the Ox, even though it's an instrumental, but it's still pretty good. I think this is a really, really good album, and it gets my number 6. Now, number 5 would be most people's number 1, and for me it is Who's Next. And the reason is, again, this has got Daltrey's sort of very gruffy rock voice, but the songs on here are very good, but I think some of them are a wee bit samey. Now, it opens up with Baba O'Riley, which I like, but it's never been my favourite. However, I do like Won't Get Fooled Again, although I prefer the single version because the album version goes on too long. Bargain's a decent song, Love Ain't For Keeping's decent. I do like My Wife, the John Entwistle song, and Getting in Tune. Behind Blue Eyes is a really good song, and Going Mobile is not bad either. It's a good album, but it just doesn't have that spark with me. I can understand why people love this and think it's one of the best rock albums ever. I totally understand that, but it's missing something for me, and I don't know what it is. And it's their only #1 album from 1971. It's Who's Next, and it's my number 5. Now you may raise an eyebrow at my number 4, but I really do like The Who by Numbers from 1975. It starts off not great with Slip Kid, which is an okay song, but However Much I Booze is brilliant, and it's got a really good sort of groovy feel to it. Squeezebox, I think, is a very good single. Dreaming from the Waist is okay, and Imagine a Man's a very good song. Success Story, which opens side 2, has got a bit of a glam feel to it, which I really do like. They're All in Love, which I think is a beautiful song, going into Blue, Red and Grey, which kind of reminds me of the Brian May song on A Night at the Opera called Good Company. Nearly forgot the name of it. How Many Friends, I think is gorgeous, and In a Hand or a Face, I think it's very good. I really like this. I think this is more poppy than Quadrophenia or Who's Next, and that's probably why I enjoy it more, and that gets my number 4. At number 3, and another one that's grown on me, and this took forever to get to like, and it's Tommy from 1969, and this got to number 2 in the charts. Yeah, Overture is brilliant, it really is, and this also features 2 of their best ever songs in Pinball Wizard and I'm Free. And I do like some of the little shorter songs, like the acoustic numbers like Sally Simpson. Fiddle About I don't really like, and the worst track off this is Underture, which is 10-minute long instrumental, which is almost, it keeps repeating itself and you think it's about to go over, and then they start up again, and it is rather annoying. But tracks like Amazing Journey is very good, Christmas, Acid Queen, it's enjoyable. But this album is like, you have to listen to this as a whole, because there's themes that go in and out, and it comes back in again in a different song. And for example, We're Gonna Take It, the very last song is where you get the full See Me, Feel Me, and it is very good as a cracking closer. So Tommy is my number 3, and from 1969. My number 2, and it is The Who Sell Out. I used to think this was my number 1, but in playing these again, it's slightly dropped to number 2. I do love Armenia City in the Sky, which wasn't written by them, I think it was written by one of their friends. Tracks like Odorono and Tattoo and Our Love Was, I think are great 60s numbers. The only one I don't like is Medak. Now, a lot of the little jingles and so forth in this I think are fantastic, and I think Heinz Baked Beans is hilarious. And I think it's such a genius type album, because nobody had done anything like this in 1967. It didn't even get in the top 10, it got to number 13, which is a shame. But there's other great tracks like Relax and Rail 1 and 2, or Rail 1 and 2, are very good. I think this is a brilliant album from 1967, and it gets my number 2. Okay, so my number 1, my favourite Who album, is from 1966, and it is a quick one. Now, this was released under the name Happy Jack in America, and they took Heat Wave off the Holland Dozier Holland, I believe, song, and replaced it with their hit single Happy Jack, which probably works better. But this is the album where everybody has a go at the songwriting. You get 2 John Entwistle songs, you get 2 Keith Moon songs, and you get 1 Roger Daltrey song, as well as the Pete Townshend songs. Opens up with Run Run Run, which is a pretty good Pete Townshend song. Boris the Spider's brilliant. It's John Entwistle, absolutely love it, and I love Whiskey Man as well. That's the other one of his. I Need You, the Keith Moon song, is fantastic. And funny enough, the Beatles also had a song called I Need You, as did the Kinks, but I think Keith Moon's is the best. You also get the Roger Daltrey song See My Way, which is really good. Then the best song on this is So Sad About Us, which is a Pete Townshend classic, and then you get a quick one, While He's Away, which is a forerunner to the Tommy soundtrack. I think it's more nodding towards the Beatles Abbey Road medley, because it's just little snippets of songs glued together brilliantly, and I think it sounds fantastic. I love this. This is the type of Who I really like. 1966, 67, 68 are my Who years. Really love it. And if you think of the singles that came out this year that weren't on this album, like Happy Jack in the UK, Substitute as well, and the other one, I'm a Boy, which is fantastic. I just think they were on fire in 1966, and this gets my number 1. Okay, so that's my Who ranking. I'll show one compact disc if you're ever wanting to get into the Who and you know nothing about them. This is the best one to get. It's a double CD, Who 50, and it goes through all their hit singles and their misses, from Zoot Suit as the high numbers right up to Be Lucky, a brand new song which was recorded after Endless Wire. And you get some tracks here that weren't on albums. For example, the ones I was talking about with the 1966 tracks, along with I Can't Explain, Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere. The Last Time, which was the Stones cover, Dogs, which I think is a really good song, very Blur-like, and even in the 70s things like Join Together, Postcard are very good. So yeah, really good double album, Who 50. Okay, that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and probably the next ranking will be Tom Petty, and I hope to have that in the next couple of weeks or so. Okay, all the best now. Bye bye.